get a good job at a good company, you have to pitch an idea to a company. What most of us do is we spend a lot of time creating a perfect resume and then blast it out to companies and then hope and pray that we hear from them real soon. And what happens? We wait and get frustrated and then eventually give up, thinking that it's impossible to get a good job at a good company today. Look, I've done this and I know how this feels. It's not only frustrating, but it is demoralizing. It is very difficult to get a job at hot companies or high growth companies like Google, Facebook, Uber, Airbnb, and many others. And the reason it's difficult is because everybody wants to work there. I mean, when you see their campus on TV, it looks like people are working in heaven. It is that good. And I look at them saying, I want to work there, but how do I get there? I'm sure you asked that question. Before I go into how to get there, let me kind of give you an overview of the job market so you have a kind of a context of what's happening. You know, even though the economy, you would agree, has improved, it is still very difficult to get a good job at a good company. According to statistics, in the United States, the unemployment rate is about 5.3%. And that's pretty good, considering a few years ago it was up to 10%. But that doesn't mean that it has gotten any easier to get a good job at a good company. In fact, it is much harder today to get a good job at a good company. Now, let me at this point define good job as far as I am using it here. A good job is a job where you're excited to get up every morning because you like the work you're doing. You like the people you're working with. You like the money you're making. You like the way it's making you more marketable. So the question then is, why is it so difficult? Now, here again, if you watch TV like I do, the news, or read blogs, and you listen to the experts, economists, and job experts, they usually cite three reasons. They'll say, you face competition from people all over the world. You face competition because companies can now outsource the work that's not strategic. You face competition from machines that can do the job cheaper, faster, smarter, better. You know, all of these reasons are partly true, but the one reason they do not point out is the way you are trying to get a job at these companies. You know, there is this famous quote from Henry Ford. It goes like this: if you do what you've always done, you will get what you've always got, unquote. And this is exactly what's happening. If you are just sending your resume out thinking that's going to do it, then you will get the same result, which is rejection. I'm of the opinion that a resume today is not a hiring tool. Resume today is a rejecting tool. Let me give you an example. Let's take Google. Google gets millions of resumes. And according to their statistics, 1 out of 1,000 resume actually gets a job at Google. So that means that's like 0.01%. So 999 out of 1,000 get rejected. And I even joke about this. I tell somebody that the busiest person at Google is not even a person. It's a software program. Let's call it the resume parser software. All it does is constantly keep sending out rejection email to people that are applying. Hey, look, I've gotten quite a few of this, so I know what they look like. And they're pretty good, but at the end, you're rejected. So you might be saying, well, wait a second. I don't do that. I'm too smart. I don't just blast out my resumes. I believe in networking. And I agree, networking is definitely better than just blasting out resume. But one thing I'll tell you that most people don't tell you about networking is that at these good companies, they're not just going to hire you because your golf buddy or your frat buddy or your college buddy works there. They have a very stringent process of hiring people. They go through multiple checks, multiple rounds of interviewing. And two things have to be happening here. One is the position has to be defined by them, and you have to be a perfect fit. And just because you know somebody and you got somebody to contact you is no guarantee that you are going to get a job there. The bar is still going to be very high. Just because you know somebody is no slam dunk that you are going to get a job there. So you got to be careful about networking. Okay, so what is the right way to get a job, or good way to get a job at these companies? I think the most effective way is to pitch an idea that simply can't be ignored. That means you have to show these companies growth. Growth is what they want. They thirst for growth. You know, just like we all thirst for growth, companies also thirst for growth. To put it bluntly, if you're not growing, you're dying. And if your pitch taps into that, then it will resonate with decision makers and they want to talk to you. You know, when you apply with a resume, you're making them think. So the default is no, no, no. But if you pitch a potential growth opportunity, then the default changes to tell me more, tell me more. I want to know more. That's a big difference. Then you have to close the deal, right? So this woman named Nina Muflay did exactly that. She moved from Jordan, the Middle East, to San Francisco because she wanted to work for Airbnb. After moving to San Francisco, she did the traditional thing. She applied to them with a resume, didn't go anywhere. She even had some contact, but again, didn't lead to a job. So then she said, she changed the game. She basically pitched her idea of a potential growth opportunity in that region on a website. Okay? And, you know, her pitch didn't get the scrutiny of the resume parser. It got the scrutiny of the CEO of Airbnb. And today, she works for Airbnb. Now, I will provide links so you can take a look at it with more information and see how that can help you to get a job a good job at one of these top-notch companies. But there are 5 things that I think she did extremely well that we can all learn from. 1, she defines the problem. And what she does was she basically creates this website that kind of looks like the Airbnb website. Now, I've never been to Airbnb, but after looking at it, I compared it. If you're from Airbnb, you would say, wow, this looks very similar. And she shows, look, Airbnb, you've been very successful. You're growing leaps and bounds, but you're not growing here. This region right here that is just ripe for picking, the Middle East. There are a lot of rich people here. There are a lot of people here who are making a lot of money. And you guys are missing out on this opportunity. Second, she shows them the solution. Here are some of the things you can do to grow. There are all these countries, Dubai, Kuwait, all of these countries. That's a high growth area, and you're not here doing well. If you're not here, somebody else will get in. Then it's going to be much more difficult to do it. The third thing she does is, okay, where do I start? Where do I start? She shows them. You can start right from here. I think she says start from Dubai. The fourth thing she does is she gives a history of herself. Like, hey, look, I've been a guest at Airbnb. I've been a host at Airbnb. I love this company. I want to add value by working for you guys. And the fifth thing she does is even more effective. She's not applying for a job. She is actually doing the job. Now, what that does is, now think about it. If you're a CEO, or if you're one of the decision makers, one of the biggest concerns that you have when you're hiring people is the uncertainty. Is this person going to work out? What if this person doesn't work out? We make them go through rounds and rounds of interviews. Google at one time had people going through 9 rounds of interviews. That's just ridiculous. And the reason that happens is these are high growth companies. They want every hire to work out. And that means that they want certainty. Certainty is what they want. When you pitch an idea, you are providing certainty. And she did that. And she got the job. So, if you want to get a job at a good company and what you've been trying hasn't worked out, I highly recommend you take a look at what she has done. Because I have sent out so many resumes and I learned a lot from looking at this and then analyzing what she did. And this is the modern way of getting a job today. Companies essentially are being overloaded with so much stuff coming at them, so many outstanding candidates, that you have to get to the heart of the matter. You have to pitch an idea to a company. This means you have to do the research. You have to create a pitch that shows growth. You have to post it on social media so that it can't be ignored. If you do that, you will get attention. If you're showing a company growth, how they can get to the promised land, which is where they capture markets, they're constantly growing, employees are happy, they all want to work for them, they're making a boatload of money. They're not going to say, you know, thanks, we want to get to the promised land, but we're going to have to wait a year till that position opens up. They're just not going to do that. If they did that, that's not a company that's growing. That's a company that's dying or dead already. And if you can show them how to get to the promised land, who do you think they would want on their team who can take them to the promised land? Good luck.